slowest WRC event is also one of the toughest. It's staged over hard, punishing roads where the rocky surface pushes cars to the limit. But Cyprus is slow with speeds through the Troodos Mountains, around half those of other rallies. That makes it harder, as the low speeds make overheating a real problem. Cyprus may be slow, but it's an endurance test for cars and drivers.
All right. Well, it's been a long time, both without you, my friend, and since I last played WRC 2 Extreme. And you might be thinking, what happened to Rallisport Challenge, Joe? Where's that? Why aren't you playing Rallisport Challenge anymore? Why are you playing WRC 2 Extreme? And I did talk about this a little bit in probably won't be the last episode of Need for Speed Underground for now, but it was episode 15. I talked about it a little bit there, but I'm fed up with trying to deal with Rallisport Challenge's handling model. I just can't do it. I can't play that game without getting far too mad for my own good. You know, it's unhealthy how angry Rallisport Challenge has been making me, so I've decided to drop that game, at least for now. You know, I'm gonna get some other games out of the way first before I go back to Rallisport Challenge, because I like I just said just now, I cannot deal with playing that game. I don't want to play it anymore. So I'm leaving it for a little while. I'm gonna play games with much more satisfying handling models and better use of their content for now. So, you know, here's WRC 2 Extreme, a game which I said had a similar handling model to Rallisport Challenge, but that was a complete lie. I was completely wrong. I didn't know what I was talking about. Unlike in Rallisport Challenge, the cars in WRC 2 Extreme actually turn when you turn the steering wheel. In Rallisport Challenge 2, they just go straight on. If you just turn the steering wheel, you have to do a bunch of bullshit to get the cars to turn, and it's not fun. You can't just drive. So, I mean, you know, I'm fed up with trying to deal with that. I am going to get fed up with trying to deal with the controller becoming disconnected. I forgot that was a big issue with this game. And it's going to be an even bigger issue here at Cyprus because of how rough the stages are. But it's just going to keep shaking my controller loose. So, yeah, it's a little bit irritating, but not nearly as irritating as trying to do a hill climb, as trying to do the Koenig Unlimited hill climb on Rallisport Challenge in one of the hill climb, like proper end of the game hill climb cars. It can't be done. It is impossible. I can do the first stage, I can win the first stage easily, but after that it's straight downhill, quite literally. That was my meme of the week. Basically what I'm trying to say is I keep falling off the cliff, and it's because the cars don't do what I tell them to do. Which, you know, I'm fair enough, you know, I'm off-road, fine, but the cars are built to go off-road, I hope they realise. They, you know, whatever. I have a lot of problems with the handling model of Rallisport Challenge. Not all of them I know how to describe properly, but it's basically I'm not having fun with the game, and I've decided to drop it. And one of those things that I usually hate most about YouTube Let's Plays is when, you know, the Let's Play just stops halfway through the game. They never touch it again, and they never even mention the game again. But which is something I've done twice now, with Gran Turismo and now Rallisport Challenge. But, you know, Gran Turismo 3, I'm planning to go back to at some point, definitely. And shit, oh fuck. Yeah, I'll take that reset, please. Yeah, Gran Turismo 3 I'm going to go back to at some point. And Rallisport Challenge, I'm explaining why I dropped it. You know, it's shit, basically. is my problem with that game. It all boils down to the handling model is shit. That's the most I can say. So now we're playing WRC 2 Extreme. I've had to change how I make the thumbnails for this series since last time, because you see that plaque there that says 30th Cyprus Rally? I cannot, for the life of me, find an image of that online, and I can't do it for any of like the next few rallies. I want to find the like I did for the first few episodes. You know, I put the 2002 rally plaque in the thumbnail, make it look cooler. I haven't been able to find those since, you know, so I'm putting the flag of the country I'm rallying in the thumbnail from now on, instead of searching high and low for the plaque, which are unfindable as far as I can tell. So that's that. Now I need to think of something else to talk about. I was kind of hoping that calling Rallisport Challenge shit and talking about the thumbnails of these videos would last more than one stage at least, but they didn't. So now I'm going to have to rack my brains for some other kind of commentary, which is going to be even more difficult now that I used everything. I hate how sticky the barriers are in this game. That's my one major issue with this game, is that the guardrails on the corners are incredibly sticky. See, look. But I mean, apart from that, this game is fine. Yeah, because I wouldn't say wasted, but I used up all the commentary I had on the episode of Need for Speed Underground that I recorded 2 minutes ago. So, you know, should have saved something for a video that's going to be slightly longer, based on how long each rally takes to complete, but whatever, you know, it's whatever. I am, like I keep mentioning right now, locked up. You remember that videotape of the 2002, 2001 X Games called ESPN's Ultimate X, and it had that was the videotape that introduced me to like as like kind of sterile, and it's semi-safe, you know, it's a ESPN videotape, you know, so the punk rock in it is punk in air quotes, but they did have Pennywise on the soundtrack and a bunch of other pretty neat bands that, you know, that was the videotape that introduced me to the kind of music that I really like. So it's whatever. The point is, there was a song on there on one of the I think it was the BMX. I've on the BMX segment. I forgot what the song's called, but I kind of like it. I've totally forgotten where I was going with this. I just started talking about ESPN's Ultimate X and totally lost track of what I was saying. The point is, yeah, that was it. Permanent Holiday by the Suicide Machines. That I'm essentially on a permanent holiday. You know, 3 months is as close to permanent as it gets. Unless like you're neat, which I'm pretty much going to be for the next few months, unless like my parents actually do force me to get a job as a cashier at like KFC, which on the one hand, you know, being locked away in a room for months on end, not healthy. You know, I'm probably going to go nuts. I had a holiday a while ago, which was way shorter than this one's going to be, and because this is a gap between finishing secondary school and moving on to like either sixth form or, for a lot of people, college. But I'm doing sixth form. From what I've heard, college is for brainlets. So sixth form is the smart way to go. Because everyone knows like how intelligent I am. I'm super smart. Yeah. So, and I went completely mad over that holiday. I pretty much didn't go out. I rode my bike a bunch, but I forgot to and couldn't get in contact with any of my friends that ride bikes because my phone is totally fucked. So I got to wait till I got a new phone and this and that. It culminated in me not quite curled up in a ball in the corner of the room foaming at the mouth, but close enough. So I don't know how I'm going to deal with 3 months. I could never be Sato from Welcome to the NHK, that's for sure. He did like 3 years. Then again, he did get to the point where he was talking to his furniture, so I mean, how bad? I mean, it's not like he could handle it any better than I did. He just lasted longer. And there ain't no cute anime girls gonna come and save me from my isolation. It's just me and myself. So in a way, my life is a little bit difficult than Sato's, or whatever. It's not a contest. You shouldn't be proud of being a NEET. Being a stinky Saigiri from that show where that guy is in love with his little sister, which I didn't watch, but I did watch Didi's podcast every week, where he talked about how shit it was every week. And they pretty much just reiterated the same points that they made at the first episode, where it's just a shit show for 13 weeks. Hour a week every week for 13 weeks. Just call the show shit. Even though everyone loves it. The whole anime... Everyone that likes anime really loved that show, and they didn't. And I didn't like it. Saying everyone likes it, bit of an overstatement. There were plenty of people that didn't like it and saw it for what it was, which is it's not so much a show as a product. Still only on the second stage of this rally, by the way. I've been rambling on about anime for 5 minutes, and we're still here. This is a Cyprus rally for you. Interesting. Like, here we go. Look, here's something that this game has over Rallisport Challenge. Interesting, varied rally stages. With the track, fair enough. It's wide. This isn't Mobile 1 Rally Championship. Where you're driving down an alleyway. The circuit is decently wide, but the road's bumpy, and not like with weird ramps. I'm talking about like it's got actual bumps. This game is way better than Rallisport Challenge. But this game did get more well, this game is a sequel, but it also got more sequels than the first Rallisport Challenge. Rallisport Challenge only got Rallisport Challenge 2, which I see a lot of people talk about as if it's really good, but after my experience with the first Rallisport Challenge, I'm not so confident in that. I do want to check it out at some point though, but there's 2 shops in town where I can buy original Xbox / PS2 games. Because the last time I ordered a PS2 game online was Tokyo Extreme Races 0, which I ordered off Amazon, and it never turned up. So, I've never been too I've never liked online shopping. And I don't like digital downloads and that sort of thing. I prefer to have an actual disc in my hands that I carry home from the shop. That's what I like. So I've basically lost all faith in online shopping at this point. I do everything in person now, and there's two shops where I can buy PS2 or original Xbox games, and that is at the Sex Shop, Sex, C-E-X. I call it the Sex Shop because I find that funny. And there's also Cash Converters, which I trust about as much as I trust online shopping. That shop, it's not, it doesn't look very reputable. You know, no disrespect meant, but I went in there and I thought, oof. They did have a nice big shelf of games though. I was told that there was an entire shelf of original Xbox titles. I was lied to. There were about 3 original Xbox games there. And the only racing one was Colin McRae Rally 04, so I bought that. And I also bought Toka Race Driver 1 for the PS2. So that thing I said in that one episode of Grid Autosport where I said that, you know, I don't want to play any more Toka until I've got Toka 1. Well, I've got Toka 1 now, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. You know, I'll sort something out. Either way, point is, they didn't have a lot in there, and the Cash Converters are the only shop that actually have original Xbox games, and I pretty much doubt there'll be very much in there. Also, it's a long walk from where I park my bike to get to Cash Converters, so I kind of don't want to go over there and find out that there's nothing, so I have to just go to the Sex Shop. And it's like, well, they never have anything for the original Xbox, so maybe it's worth walking across town, but not really. So yeah, that's my issue with buying older games at this point. You know, I still buy PS2 games when I see them a lot of the time, but now that I've got most of the more well-known ones, the last few racing titles. Okay, I got a penalty for resetting the car, but I'm already behind in this stage, so fuck it, whatever. Yeah, I've got all of the PS2 racing games that anyone knows about. So the last few to get are pretty obscure, so the chances of them showing up fairly low, if we're on it, fairly low. But you know, it's always worth a look. The controller is connected. It's vibrating like mad. Send help. Okay, that did it. I've got 2 copies of Gran Turismo 4, right? And I wanted to make a joke review of Gran Turismo 4 because I've got a big problem with Gran Turismo 4. Right, so I've got 2 copies of it. One of them is the sort of original print in the white case, and one of them is the Platinum Edition release with the sort of silver case, and it says Platinum on it, and neither of them work. You know, I always complain about my PS2 being on its last legs, but you know, it actually works pretty good. Like every time I buy a new game, even when I buy a new game from somewhere that looks as dodgy as Cash Converters, it worked. Like Toka Race Driver 1 worked amazingly, which I didn't expect, but it did. So, you know, I'm fairly certain my PS2 is in one of the ones in this world that's in better nick than the others. I was talking at one point about replacing it with a fat PS3, but those are also never in stock anywhere I go. And, you know, now that they're out of production, it's going to get even more difficult to find myself an old fat PS3, let alone one that works. Basically, everything in the every gaming thing in the world is shit. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's a problem. So I don't need to replace my PS2. Sorry, I got completely distracted. I forgot I was talking about Gran Turismo 4. I don't need to replace my PS2. It's fine, pretty much. You know, you need to flip it upside down to play games that have blue discs, but they work as well. The problem is, right, and I learned about this after shitposting about it on the line, but here's the deal. Gran Turismo 4's disc is like double printed or whatever, which makes it weird and difficult for the PS2 to read. You know, I'm pretty sure it was designed for the PS2 Slim, which is not what I have. I have a real PS2. You know, real men like curves, real gamers like fat PS2s. That's how it goes. Wow, I managed to overcome the penalty as well. Look at me. I'm the rally god. I'm like Colin McRae, but better. Yeah, so I don't need a new PS2. My PS2 is fine, pretty much. The problem is that Gran Turismo 4's disc is a big steaming pile of shit, and it just doesn't work. And that's a fact. So so my review of Gran Turismo 4 would be me talking about how excited I was to be playing the sequel to Gran Turismo 3, which is one of my big childhood games, and talking about how, like, you know, it's one of the, allegedly, you know, it's supposed to be one of the, I don't know why you're not allowed to accelerate when you're touching the barriers either. I don't know what. Another problem with this game, not only are the barriers really sticky, it also makes it so that the throttle doesn't work for a few seconds for some reason. Anyway, yeah, you know, I'm excited to be playing one of the what's commonly hailed as, if not one of the best racing games of all time. You know, people talk about Gran Turismo 4 constantly, about how amazing it is, how it's got like 1,000 million cars and 100 tracks, and look at all this stuff you can do. Wow, it's amazing. And then, you know, I put it in and it says disc, and then I put the disc in, and the PS2 comes up saying disc read error, and that would be the joke, and then the review would just end. Is it worth buying an old fat PS3 just to play Gran Turismo 4? Sources say probably. You know, my gut is telling me that Gran Turismo 4 is probably a damn good game, and it would be worth playing at least once. But since it doesn't want to work, and I don't really have the money right now for a fat PS3, and my PS2 is working fine, so there's no reason to replace it. You know, I mean, you know. So that's the deal with that. So I've just got 2 dud copies of Gran Turismo 4 just sitting around, collecting dust pretty much, even though I've only had them for a couple of weeks. Which sucks, man. I wanna play every game that I own, and it's just some won't work. I've got the original Forza Motorsport as well, and that doesn't work. But when I bought that, you know, I forgot to check the disc, and it turns out there's a big chunk of it just missing, like on the underside, like of the actual disc bit that's supposed to get read is just missing a chunk, and it's like, well, how does that happen? And it doesn't work. You know, you can load up the menu, but you can't get into the game. So, yeah, I can't play either of the biggest, like, Forza 4. Either the 2 biggest games of the early mid 2000s, Gran Turismo 4 and the original Forza Motorsport, and I can't play either of them because their discs are both shit. But Gran Turismo 4, it's actually Gran Turismo 4's fault. With Forza Motorsport, it's just the previous owner was a cunt and sold a dud game like a wanker. So I can't be playing either of those, unfortunately, which sucks because I really wanted to. There we go. I'll at some point it will be dealt with, but until I can deal with it, just going to complain about it instead. Right, 1 or 2 more stages to go, I think. Yeah, 2 more stages. No night stage at this rally, I don't think. Cyprus, which makes sense because we're up in a mountain in the middle of nowhere. You know, who goes to Cyprus? And you know, if you did a stage in the dark here, you know, the amount of people that would finish would be minimal. We'd be going back to Group B days for real. And current WRC is going back, it's harking back to Group B. It's not quite Group B, but it's pretty fun. You know, watching the 2017 WRC season has been pretty good. You know, the deaths at the start of the season, not so good, to be honest. But, you know, it was exciting. It was an interesting element to add to the sport, was the risk of death, which has been missing from rallying for a while. Yeah, just reset my shit up, please, fam. Yeah, well, I mean, that's why there's no night stage at this rally, I guess. This car is fucked. No mechanical damage, it's all body damage, luckily, but the car not having such a good time. Well, the guy at the beginning did say Cyprus is one of the more difficult rallies, so, I mean, what can you do? What's the WRC game coming out this year? WRC 8? WRC 7? WRC 8? I saw WRC 6 in a shop, but yeah. No, WRC 7, yeah. It actually looks pretty good. Like, the stages look pretty narrow. And I know how the last couple of WRC games have been. You know, I've got WRC 2010 and 2011, which were okay. I guess they weren't good. They were okay. That was when Milestone, you know, complaining that a game was made by Milestone was a worthy complaint. After MotoGP 17 and MXGP 3, I genuinely think Milestone are becoming one of the good racing game developers, but, you know, that's only 2 good games, and they've got a huge backlog. Some of the older Milestone games are pretty good, some of them are okay, some of them are bad. The point being that, you know, Milestone, they're cleaning up their act, definitely. It depends. Those 2 are bike games. You know, if they can pull it out with gravel and make a decent car game as well, then, you know, I can say, good job, Milestone, you did it. It'll be like the ending scene of Evangelion. Not the ending scene, but the congratulations scene. I haven't actually seen any of Evangelion. I've watched like a million reviews, and I've heard people talk about it constantly, but I've never watched any of it. Whatever. See, look, the throttle just dies. I tapped the wall and the throttle died. Maybe that's to like simulate the driver going, ow, and not being able to hit the button for a little minute. If you see what I mean. Wasn't this stage supposed to be Mystic? Well, I mean, I guess it is a little bit. If you look at that white fog, that's not just the draw distance, that's mist. That's probably the excuse they made in the 90s when they couldn't render much of the track. You know, they just say, no, it's misty. It's dark. It's nighttime. The weather's bad. You can't see very far. Honest. Which is fine. Oh shit. Whew. Fuck. I thought I just jumped myself off a cliff trying to cut a corner. you get reset for doing that in Rallisport Challenge, just to let you know. You cut any of the corners in Rallisport Challenge, the game will reset you. Even when you get back on the track, it'll like take you back to like prevent you from cheating. It's just the worst. I hate it. Baja Edge Control doesn't like it when you cut corners either, which I think is weird because, you know, it's Baja. But and I'm pretty sure they rendered all the environments as big, you can drive wherever you want kind of things. So I don't know why you get reset for cutting a corner in a Baja, but whatever. That's a minor problem. My bigger problem with that game is that driving the trucks feels like driving a slightly heavier MX vs ATV truck. But the environments are fucking rad in that game. You know, it's really cool. I do enjoy it. You know, I'm playing it on my own. I've just gotten up to, I think it's called the VW Pro Challenge or whatever, the second tier. I've got up to the second tier. I'm enjoying it so far. I'll have to reset my progress to do a let's play as usual, but that's to be expected. Last stage then. This should be a shorter one, methinks. Yeah, car. No surface area, so the car's still a little bit on the broken side. Oh fuck. And that's not going to help it, to be honest. Neither is going. Bashing it into the walls all the time is not going to help it either, if we're on it. But whatever, it's fine. Going back to when I was talking about Milestone a minute ago, I mentioned MXGP3. I've got MXGP1. I was excited for MXGP since it was announced. You know, that was... Pretty sure that was the last... I mean, it wasn't the... I say it was the last game I got excited for and followed the release of for ages, but... It's... Fucking hell. No, wait. I'm pretty much there. Don't reset me. I've got this. Got this in the bag, boys. Yeah, I say it's like the last game I got excited for and followed the release of. And like, I watched every trailer and update video and whatever. But like, that's not strictly true. You know, I watch a lot of trailers for games coming out and stuff. You know, I'm following Need for Speed Payback decently closely. Despite how I don't like the look of it at all. But that's neither here nor there. You know, the point is I bought MXGP1 and I loved it. So it's not the fault of the game. You know, I'm not saying that's the last game I followed the release of like it disappointed me, because it didn't. I actually really liked MXGP1. I still really like it. There are some major noticeable flaws, but on the whole, you know, it's a pretty good game. And I've seen MXGP3 in the video game store, but I have never seen MXGP2 anywhere. You know, I've seen minimal gameplay of it somehow, even though at the time when MXGP2 was out, I was subscribed to and following a whole bunch of motocross channels that played games like MX Simulator and MX vs ATV Reflex and that kind of stuff, and somehow I pretty much never saw MXGP2 gameplay, and I've never seen it in a store, ever. A shop. Store, it's all the same. The point is, I'd go looking for MXGP2, and there'd be one there, and then, you know, I see MXGP3, but there's no 2, I don't know, it's kind of weird. MXGP2, you know, commonly referred to as not a good game, but, you know, as we should all know by now, my mission, collect every racing game ever made, or at least made since 2000. So, you know, I'm interested in getting it. Plus, it's a motocross game, and motocross is my preferred motorsport, to be honest. It's a little bit bro tier, it's a little bit dude bro, you know. Especially like the Red Bull freestyle stuff. I just like racing motocross bikes. I don't do it myself, but my dad does it, in a way. My granddad does it and used to do it, and you know I'm into it and I want to do it, and I like the, even though it's like the most bro tier thing in the world, I really like the late 90s videotapes like Moto Triple X and stuff. Because at the time that wouldn't have been bro tier. That would have been, you know, they're kind of, I mean, they're bros, they're dude bros, but they're out, they're kind of, they're not mainstream, if you see what I mean. You know, they're sort of out there, a little bit way, a little bit whoa. You know what I mean? They're punks. It's cool. It's a cool thing. It's cool. I just think it's cool. You know, it looks cool. You know, riding a motorbike feels cool. And as we learned from Need for Madness, if it looks cool and it feels cool, then it's cool, and that you can't argue against that. So there we go. Oh shit, I thought this was the end of the rally, but it's not. Wait for it. And there we go. End of the rally. I've made an excellent closing statement. That's the end of that. So that was the Rally of Cyprus. Next week we're going to Argentina. I don't know if Argentina is going to be quite as difficult as Cyprus was, but that was the Rally of Cyprus. We came first. Good job. Well done, everyone. Well done, me. I'm the rally god. So yeah, I'll be back with this. I'll be back with this next week because I don't want to play Rallisport Challenge anymore. Is a quick rundown. You know, if I was a Bogdanov, that is the quick rundown.